Hello everybody, welcome to Little Rusty Bucket. Subscribe to the channel and drop a like on this video. Trying to hit 50k subs over here, so that subscription would be much appreciated. In today's video, I wanted to talk about LeBron James and a what if that I did a video about forever ago. The video is now unlisted. If you wanted to go back and watch it, you could. But I wanted to rehash it here because it is a what if that just lives rent free in my head in a way that not a lot of others do, primarily because it's just a little bit out there. I also want to point this out because I got a few, like literally 2 or 3 comments on my Portland Trailblazers what if video. I have never said that what ifs are bad. I said that using what ifs to justify bad takes is bad. To use it as an alternate version of history as though that is the reality that you should actually value is bad. I did not say that having loose conversations about what ifs for fun is bad, and like that's not hypocritical. You just weren't listening to me. But with that said, I want to talk about the almost possibility that LeBron would have ended up being a Memphis Grizzly. Also, to glaze myself a little bit, I fucking popped off on the thumbnail. I can't believe how good that Photoshop turned out. But the reason I think people don't know about this take is because they just know that the Pistons had the number 2 pick and that's that. Not a lot of people consider how they ended up getting that draft selection, but they got that through a trade 6 years prior in 1997, where the Pistons would send Otis Thorpe to the then Vancouver Grizzlies in exchange for a first rounder that was only top 1 protected. So if that pick, if the lottery balls just went a little bit differently, and instead of going number 2, that draft pick went number 1, LeBron James would have ended up being a Memphis Grizzly. And that is really interesting because of the roster that he would have been joining that would be way more equipped to win a title in the near future than what he ended up getting in Cleveland, what he would have got if he started off in Miami or Toronto or Denver. Like, this was actually the most future winning circumstance possible on the board when it came to who would draft LeBron, and then the lottery balls went the way that they did. I know it's not necessarily much of a what if to be like, well, if the lottery was different, then things would be different, but this particular outcome, this particular timeline, I think LeBron James ended up having a much better or at least more winning NBA career from the onset, because literally the Grizzlies the season following this would win 50 games, obviously without LeBron James. The roster that he would be being added to featured Pau Gasol, James Posey, Jason Williams, aka White Chocolate, Mike Miller, and Bonzi Wells. There's also Stromiel Swift, who's a really fun player, and a really key one is Shane Battier. So the 3 main players that stick out and matter to me here are Mike Miller, Shane Battier, and Pau Gasol. I'm also intrigued by the idea of a rookie LeBron playing with White Chocolate. I'm sure that would have ended up resulting in a lot of very fun highlights, but I'm more so talking about the longer term future here. And at the time in 2003, Pau Gasol, 23 years old, Mike Miller, 23 years old, and Shane Battier, 25 years old. All of them also, I believe at this point, should be on rookie contracts. Yeah, all 3 of them were making $3.5 million or less, and the contracts above them are all reasonable and tradable. I mean, $7 million in 2004 is like 20 back then, but 20 is your most highest salaried player is like not that ridiculous at all. And again, let me remind you, this Grizzlies team won 50 games in LeBron's rookie year. They were coached by Hubie Brown, and he also had a holy shit, he had a 16-year hiatus as a head coach as a coach going from 1987 Knicks to the 2002 Grizzlies. That's really something. But yeah, Hubie Brown is the head coach. Executive Jerry motherfucking West, one of the greatest executives to ever do it. And this is a team that would go on to be the 7th best offense in the NBA and the 11th best defense. This is when there were 29 teams, so that's out of 29. And LeBron would have been joining a team with a perfect big man to pair next to him. Him and Pau Gasol would have phenomenal chemistry. Pau, the mid-range jumper, the post-scoring ability, the playmaking. He's also a very good defensive player. They were primarily playing him at power forward at this stage. I think they probably would have shifted him to center eventually, but either way, Pau Gasol, very, very good second option. Obviously, Kobe ended up winning 2 titles by the time LeBron was done with his Cleveland tenure with Pau Gasol as his sidekick, so it stands to reason that LeBron would be able to do something similar. And then Mike Miller, I think a lot of younger NBA fans don't know that Mike Miller was kind of that dude for a brief period. That is relative in that he was just like a damn good scorer for a decent stretch of time, but from 2001 to 2008 as a Memphis Grizzly and partially a member of the Magic, he averaged 15 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists per game. He also shot 40% from 3 on 5 attempts per game. So awesome opportunity to kick out on the perimeter. He also won 6th Man of the Year in 2006. But a shooter and LeBron, they always pair well. Then you have Shane Battier, who I do think took a little bit longer to develop as a three-point shooter, but was still okay. Actually, no, he was pretty good right out of the gate as well. So from that season where he would have played with LeBron until his first year of Houston, the guy shot 39.6% from 3, and he was consistently getting DPOY votes, even getting as high as 3rd in DPOY in 2008. So a young, super good 3-and-D player and a young, super good three-point shooter with a little bit of scoring ability inside the arc as well. Those are your 3rd and 4th options on this team. And then again, you have White Chocolate, who I think would be a good player, a good point guard alongside LeBron, because obviously they're not about to play LeBron at point guard, even though that's honestly what I would do. And just a solid roster with great management. Like, the potential here, if LeBron was on this roster, truly by 2010, I would expect them to have 2 or 3 titles. Like, LeBron was so consistently getting the Cavaliers to like 60 plus wins on mid-ass rosters that I can only imagine if he had this kind of help. 2010, 61 wins. 2009, 66 wins, dude. And that's with his best teammate being Mo Williams and Big Z, Zydrunas Ilgauskas, also Delonte West. Like, man, I've actually ran through and done this roster on 2K before just because I am endlessly fascinated with what this would have looked like. It would just be such a comically good young team to have LeBron, Gasol, Mike Miller, and Shane Battier all on rookie contracts at the same time. To me, it's impossible to imagine that team does not win at least a championship before LeBron would have entered his Heatles era. So yeah, I just think I call it underrated because I don't think it's a possibility that people really take into much consideration, because the fact that Grizzlies pick would have been number 1 had it slotted that way. It's just not really something that is thought about or talked about much. There's also, of course, the argument that draft was rigged so that he would go to Cleveland. I don't know that I buy into that specifically, just because it's not like, whoa, was the NBA desperate to get the Cleveland market to have their next perennial superstar face of the league guy? I can't imagine that was exactly in their strategy there, but maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. All I know is LeBron going from Memphis, at least in terms of him just filling up his trophy case, I think that would have been better for his career, for his GOAT case. But let me know what you think, especially if you were not aware of this outcome. I think about it a lot. I think about it way too much, because I didn't even know about this possibility until, I want to say, 3 years ago or so. So yeah, that's it. Thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.